and functioning. The third building is waiting for a building permit to upfit the inside of the building. And so until they do that and have all the equipment stop running around the site, they don't want to final pave the site, which is really the only thing that is left to do, final pave and just a little bit of cleanup. So what we're asking for is a certificate of compliance to close out the existing order. And in your next order of business, if you want to peek down the, agenda, or at least two things will go, is we have refiled for a new order in which we can hopefully receive an order of conditions and then close out the project using that new order.
Okay.
Again, very similar to what we did on 5 Industrial Ave, I think probably the last time I was here in front of you guys.
So we're still waiting for a DEP number on the second one anyway?
Yes.
Correct. Close out the old one, hopefully get a new order of conditions with a new file number. Once the paving and striping is complete, we'll be back in here for a certificate of compliance to close out the entire project.
So on the third building, are you waiting for the building inspector? Any approvals, Glenn?
It's in the process now. It's stuck at the tax office, I think, and he said,
Okay.
it's been there for like a week. He said, you gotta call him and give him a nudge. Sometimes it gets put on a desk.
Okay. no.
So, yeah,
But
building permits have been submitted.
They were issued, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so things are going. It's
Things
not-
are going.
absolutely.
It's not held up on any technicality. It just,
All they have left is striping. Well, we'll get there, but all they
Okay.
have left is striping on the building.
They finished paving, right?
Top coat paving and then striping,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
And they don't want to do that again with the trucks rolling around, and, yeah.
Okay.
Michelle, I can make a motion to approve the certificate of compliance, DEP number 309-0907.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Granted.
You want to handle the third one?
We're gonna do it now. All right, well, so the next one on the agenda is 44 Old Ting Road, map 21, parcel 23-F, DEP number 309, till it gets established. Glen Cole applicant to renew a expired notice of intent for construction of a 120 by 80 industrial building with associated driveway, parking, and utilities already completed with 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands.
So again, for the record, Mr. Chair, Brian Melissy with Whitman and Bingham, here with me, Glen Cole, property owner at 44 Old Ting Road, and remember what I just said. And I do want to point out, I apologize if I was a little bit misleading in my narrative. The third building is erected, like we had just said, but in order to come up with some filing fees, I figured that building isn't quite done yet, so we would file for the one building, and that's kind of what we did the premise of the notice of intent on. So I hope it wasn't misleading to say that he still has to construct that building, but again, that building, the shell is constructed, we're just fitting up the inside, the interior of the building.
I'll say we were confused.
I know that. Well, that's, I only say that because Michelle called me and say, what is it in? So that was the reasoning behind it, and now that I see the error in my ways,
Yeah, we looked at it together when it came in.
I see the error in my ways, so.
So what you want us to continue to wait for a DEP number anyway,
No,
right?
well, why don't we approve it to get it off the agenda?
First, Mr. Chair, this is a
It's
new
open,
hearing.
new hearing.
Yeah.
Michelle, I can make a motion to waive the reading of legal ad and butters list?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Waive the reading of the legal ad and the abutters list.
Because the project is basically complete, oops, sorry about that. Why don't we approve it and to get it off the agenda, and I will hold it until the DEP number comes out.
Michelle, I can make a motion to open the public portion of the hearing?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I thought you just...
Anybody in the public have any questions?
Michelle, I can make a motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
The second on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public part of the hearing is closed. We have a motion.
Do we have a time frame for when we'll get a DEP number?
They're a little behind right now.
They're real behind. Look we don't have Willow Street yet.
Okay.
Okay,
Willow
so
Dale, yeah.
I'm saying, instead of continuing and keep it on the agenda because we're gonna have another agenda next month, why don't we just approve it? We'll issue it, we'll send it to them when the DEP number comes in. We've done that before, so.
Approve with the condition, once the DEP number comes, then it can be issued. Right?
Just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what we did at Willowdale?
Well, no, ain't done yet. They don't even know. Yeah.
Well, we approved everything, right, but we didn't approve it because there was no DEP number.
Right.
So why are we approving this with no DEP number? It's different than the other one, right?
You're right.
So why are we doing different for him than the last
Because
resident?
this project is completed.
Right, but
This is
I'm
just
just-
housekeeping.
I know, but I'm saying, it's not that I don't disagree. It's not gonna make a difference whether it's, we'll put it back on the agenda, we get DP number.
Okay.
Because all I'm saying is, the person, the other one on the agenda doesn't have a DP number either.
Okay.
And we didn't approve their project. We basically approved everything they came through, they did all the, we said, yeah, no problem. We just can't approve it till you get a DP number. So it wouldn't be fair to them that we approve yours.
Well,
Contingent on DP number.
that's not the reason they're not getting there, so they have a problem with the fee, but I understand, that's okay.
I agree with that. I don't want to set a precedent where we're approving stuff without DEP numbers.
Okay,
I mean, I'm
Sounds good.
sorry, Glenn, but that's just,
It's not a big deal, it's not like,
I didn't realize we didn't have the number yet.
Yeah, they're behind, and we will try to call, or I will try to call, sometimes we light a fire under them, but
Yeah.
So what's our next meeting day, Pam? Make a motion to continue to July 26th?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
44 Old Ting
Wait,
Road,
wait.
map 31, parcel 23-F.
26.
Continue to July 26th.
July 26th.
And that'll be, hopefully, he'll have his DEP number.
No, yeah, then I just.
Okay.
And actually, you don't really need to be here.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that way you're saving money.
Try and get here for the other project too, so.
well, that won't even get on the agenda the next meeting, so, probably unless you,
If you can submit it by the 19th, it can be on for August 9th. Otherwise, because the second August meeting has already been canceled.
Okay.
See, where we already discussed this whole thing, like,
The deadline for the 8/9.
if the DP number's in time, you don't have to be in the 26th, so you save money, you don't have to pay him.
Yep. I like paying them.
I like when he pays me, too.
Okay.
We appreciate that. Like I said, I'll try to get on DEP to get that number and get it forward. Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Glenn.
yeah, Glenn.
you're welcome.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to continue 17 Willowdale Ave
Do I have a
to
second?
July 26th.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Eddie, is that going to be continued to 26?
Yes,
Yep,
yeah.
17 Willdale Ave, map 32, parcel 123 is continued to July 26.
Okay.
Next one on the agenda is 406, 424 Boston Road, map 11 and 12, parcel 2-0.
Middlesex Road,
What'd I say?
Boston Road.
Middlesex
We had
Road.
a Boston Road.
Billerica.
Billerica.
That's for Rick.
Middlesex Road, map 11 and 12, parcel 2-0, 29A-0, DEP number 3090987. Zachary Scheinberg, applicant for a notice of intent for construction of a 492,000 square foot warehouse facility with associated grading and utilities, continued from June 14, 2022. So,
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Good evening, fellow commissioners. That sounds like our project site. That's close enough. For the record, Mike Howard from Epsilon Associates. To my right is Hillary Holmes from Langen Engineering, and Zach Scheinberg. The applicant is sitting in the crowd behind us. Just a couple updates, and then we can follow up on what the commission asked us to consider after the site walk that we had a couple weeks ago. So subsequent to the June 14th hearing that we had with the commission, we participated in a site visit with representatives of the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board. That was on June 29th. Everyone made it out alive with only a few ticks, I think. It wasn't as bad as we had thought it might be. We appreciate the commission spending so much time with us on that hot night, so thank you for doing that. The day after the site visit, Hillary's office submitted the revised site plans and stormwater analysis to the Conservation Commission in response to the commission's peer review consultants' comments. In a few minutes, Hillary will provide an update on the status of the commission's review, and she'll also give a high-level overview of the changes and updates that we made in that June 30th submittal. We also had a request from the commission as a result of the site walk that Hillary will also expand on a bit more tonight. Specifically, the commission asked that we take a closer look at the proposed elevations of the site relative to the proposed building and the retaining walls and the site prep work and the landscaping details and things like that, and provide some additional perspective as to what the view sheds might look like from some of the select vantage points that we discussed in the field and at our original public hearing. So with that, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'll turn it over to Hillary and she'll walk the commission through those updates.
Yep, no problem, thank you.
Hi, Hillary Holmes with Langen. So we did resubmit, we did not receive responses from the peer reviewer yet. So Michelle had said that those are still outstanding but anticipated soon. But I do want to walk through some of the stormwater management changes we did make based on the conservation peer reviewer comments and also from the planning board peer review comments.
I'm gonna hold those boards up for Hillary. We forgot our easel, we apologize, but I told her I'll hold them up.
We have, do we have
We
one?
have one, don't we?
We have one, yeah.
Is there an easel floating around?
We did.
I'm the only one not doing anything, so let me.
Wow.
Thank you, Zach.
Yeah, so in terms of the overall concept for the stormwater management plan, there were no substantial changes to our concept. We're still proposing 3 stormwater infiltration basins as well as 3 underground systems. 2 of the underground systems are infiltration systems and 1 is a detention system. We're on CG 100.
Before S or after S?
It's after S.
They noted on your note.
So for
Yeah.
the far northern basin, well, I should start with all of the changes that we made to the stormwater system had to do with test pits that were actually conducted in the field. So based on sort of the observed modeling due to estimated seasonal high groundwater or rock that was encountered, those were the modifications that were made to these systems. So the far northern basin, based on some of the test pit data, modeling and groundwater and rock, we had shifted the basin up a little bit to make sure that we had 4 feet of separation from rock or groundwater. The subsurface system just below that, that one shifted a little bit north and the elevation got a little bit higher again to adjust for some rock that was observed in a test pit directly to the south, as well as some modeling in the soils for the estimated seasonal high water table. The basin right over here did not change at all. This detention system, there was a minor adjustment in the elevation and the height of the system, but no substantial changes. The far infiltration basin, this one, that one probably changed the most. We kind of changed the size and shifted it east a little bit, and we also raised the bottom, and that was due to some soil modeling that was observed at a particular elevation to make sure that we had the 4 feet of separation as well as a rock outcrop. So that's sort of why we changed the shape and shifted it over. And then this system there, that one we shifted a little bit further north as well as adjusted the height again to get separation. So those are kind of the overarching changes we made to the stormwater system. Again, it didn't really substantially change the design too much. We are, in terms of our peak flow, in terms of our post-development flows, meeting our pre-development flows, we are meeting all of the peak flow mitigation required with the exception of there's one watershed C, which is over a year, where it's basically just going off-site, and there's a 0.09 increase in the peak flow. the stormwater volume decreases, but the peak flow happens to increase. It's just sort of one of those anomalies in the calculations. The volume of the area substantially decreased, but we were seeing a little bit of an increase in just the 2-year peak storm. Because of the insignificance of that number, we felt that's really a negligible amount given how much of the area is decreasing and the fact that the stormwater volume runoff was decreasing. We are still asking for a waiver regarding the stormwater volume runoff, because we are increasing the stormwater volume runoff at 3 of the watersheds. What's going to Middlesex Road, what's going to this wetland, and what's going to the western wetland. And we did include within our stormwater report an analysis of all 3 of those locations to show that even though we are increasing the volume, we're decreasing the peaks and doing an analysis of sort of what was coming off the site in existing conditions compared to what's coming off the site in proposed conditions. There's really a negligible difference in elevation to the wetland to the west, as well as the wetland to the east. And in terms of the Middlesex Road, we did an analysis of the catch basin at that point as well, and there's not a substantial difference in the storms with that increase in stormwater volume. So those are all the changes in terms of stormwater design. Does the commission have any questions?
Mr. Chair, through you, to the applicant. So we've got these 3, or I guess 4 infiltration basins. Why can't we put those underneath the parking lots or someplace to hide them, if you will, or put them in a spot that won't require as many trees to come down?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we really wanted to balance subsurface and surface stormwater approaches for this site. Given, the cost implications of subsurface versus surface, we felt that this was sort of a good balance for the site in terms of having half that were surface infiltration and half that were subsurface.
But you could put them all under.
You could put them all under. I mean, you could. I mean, that's a possibility.
Because I'm a tree guy. I believe trees should be spared. You guys have taken about 6,000 trees off of this site from reading through the notes here and the plan. I'd really like to see those things put underneath to save some trees. One of the nice things about driving up Route 3 is the tree line that we have in Tyngsborough. This one that's over in the bottom left-hand corner would take that right out of the picture. Yeah, but there's so much room underneath the parking lots that these 3 basins could easily be put under there, in my opinion. And I would much rather see them put under. And the other thing that I would like to see is, you've got 85 acres to work with. You're really using 44. Maybe that BVW could be moved into the 41 acres someplace that you're not going to be building on. So I'm 1 vote, but that's what I'd like to see.
Okay, yeah, I mean, in terms of the balance, in terms of what we're developing on versus what we're not developing on, I will say that a huge chunk of the site is wetlands. So if you look at the overall area that's available for that parcel for 406 and 424, and then you look at how many wetlands we have on site, I mean, we really are developing sort of the pockets of area that we have that are not wetland. So we really are trying to make best use of the area and the site, site area available to us. In terms of that lower corner and the sort of the existing trees, I could shift to our view sheds. That would probably help the discussion a little bit too. So. I mean, based on our site walk, there were definitely some
Can you see?
Yeah, there are definitely some concerns about sort of different views, looking at Middlesex Road, looking at Route 3, kind of what would be visible to the public as they're, you know, driving on Middlesex Road or driving on Route 3. So we looked at cross sections at 4 locations to sort of see, you know, we did 2 on Middlesex Road to sort of see if you're driving on Middlesex Road, kind of like based on the trees that are remaining, that are being preserved, or the trees that we're putting in place, or what's actually going to be visible to you. So the top section is cut right through the driveway, looking straight towards this retaining wall, the new retaining wall, the parking lot, and the building. So this is Middlesex Road. We have the building over to the left. So these are some of the new trees. So these are some of the new trees we have in place. The ones that are shaded out are sort of the trees that would be sort of in the background. So you would see that we do have some vetted trees that are at the front, at the bottom of the retaining wall here, as well as the top, as well as the tree plantings that are in the parking lot that would obscure the view of the building. You know, understanding that, you know, in fall when the leaves are off the trees, or in winter, you know, you are going to have more of a filtered view, because we do have a mix of deciduous and evergreens at the top and bottom of the wall. But in order to have variety, you know, we don't have like a, you know, row of just evergreens, right? So there will be a filtered view of, you know, the wall as well as the building.
So when we walked this, we were asking about having that area step down, right?
Yep.
It's more similar towards what they did at Lowe's, but not as drastic. So you're proposing this now, or
So this is just.
this is Middlesex Road here too?
Yeah, so this section up here is just this view, and then to go to this section, section B is looking basically through that lower corner here.
Which will be this?
Yeah, which is, you know, it's right south of the sort of little plaza that's to the south of our site. There is a substantial amount of tree canopy that is existing, that's, you know, that we're not touching, it's off our property. So if you were to cut a section looking here towards the building, you can see you have all of this dash line's existing grade. You have all this existing tree canopy that really obscures the line of sight, you know, from
This looks a lot
Middlesex.
more natural.
Yeah, so this
Which
is, yeah.
looks a lot better seeing this.
Well, I think that that's because of sort of where this is cut, right? You know, we're looking through an existing wooded area, we're looking through, and then this portion is our site, right? Where you have a road, and then you have,
Right.
you know, tree planting.
And then you build.
I mean, this, we're really looking through the driveway. So you're not really gonna have, there's not a lot of opportunities for trees along the actual driveway itself. I mean, we do have trees to the north of the drive, along the driveway. And then, you know, we do have a substantial amount of screening that we're providing at the bottom of the wall and at the top. So, I mean, that's sort of indicated here, but it is quite robust. I mean, we are really treating the whole bottom and top.
So what's this elevation from here to here?
Yeah.
From the top to that looks like your driveway line?
Yeah, so it really varies. You know, this wall, as you wrap around here, you know, it is essentially, you know, there's no wall, and then you kind of come up, and the highest point is really at that driveway, so it's around, I want to say, 27 and a half feet tall at the tallest. And then it goes back down, so it goes back down on each
So it
direction.
slopes off on each
Yeah,
side?
yeah.
So these plantings, this is additional on top of the planting plan you already have?
No, this is,
Oh, that's
this is
existing?
representational of what we submitted to the commission.
So I just roughly did it, they're planting 227 trees, roughly, right now.
And they're taking down 6,000.
Right.
But there's a large footprint there for the building, parking lot.
I get that. Zach, you had said you were gonna go up and look at that wall in front of Lowe's. Did you get a chance to do that?
Doesn't look great.
Doesn't? No. I agree. And you're proposing a wall along where the electric company owns, it's gonna be 45 feet high.
Yeah,
We had talked about terracing that as well. Is that something that we can expect in the next revision of plans?
so that wall,
Isn't, not to interrupt, but isn't the power lines gonna be higher than the parking lot?
Yes.
So the wall is, it's dropped, so it's a landscaped wall, it's not,
yeah, yes, the power easement is
Right.
higher and we're lower
Yeah, you're
by
lower.
40, yeah, about 40
so you're only
something.
gonna see the wall when you're in the parking lot, facing the power lines.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see it from anywhere else.
You won't see it from Middlesex Road.
Right.
Yeah, so,
Well, I think that's more of a planning board issue.
Right,
than a
right, I'm just saying
location issue.
for, that one won't stick out as bad as Lowe's unless you're in the parking lot. Just like driving the Lowe's.
Lowe's, you see it right
You see it
from,
going down Daniel Webster.
right.
Yeah, I mean, this wall starts at this point.
Right.
You know, which is pretty far into the site, and again, you know, it tapers, it's, 0 here, and then it starts increasing, and at the highest point, is right here.
Which is
right
in the
site.
back corner where we walked up, all the testing that we saw that day was all up this corridor here.
Yep.
Right.
We didn't go further in, but this was kind of the highest peak, and we didn't have an elevation
Yeah,
chart
that's-
with us. I kept asking.
Yeah,
about the
so
elevation.
so the highest point, the highest point on the site is around 260 existing at that location, and the wall at the highest point would be, it's around 49.7
Feet tall.
feet tall, yeah. Yeah. So but that is a cut wall.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't see it. Aesthetically, you're not going to see it from Route 3, nor you're not going to see it from Middlesex Road.
I don't see how you're not
Okay,
going
but
to see it from
We're not
Middlesex Road.
concerned about that.
Right, I know, but Chaz has brought up a lot about the trees. And
I'll-
that's going to be treed anyways.
And I'll
not
continue
about
that
site,
discussion with
though.
the planning board. That's,
Yep.
my main concerns are the infiltration ponds, moving those into the parking lot, and find another spot for the BBW, which I think probably up near the exit, there would be room to put that up in there. So that we're taking down trees to put in BBW.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that about the BVW?
So there must be some other place that we can put that BBW.
Oh, you mean the
Yeah.
wetland replication?
Put that up
the-
in behind the cinemas maybe, or,
I think that's all wetlands, right, behind the movie?
There's no, I'm confident saying there's no location on our site where we can construct the mitigation area without removing trees.
Behind the cinema is all wet when it's a normal,
okay.
a normal year, it's all wet behind there.
So of the 85 acres, there's no other place that you could put that?
No, I didn't say that, but we're still gonna have to remove trees. There's no tree list, there's no like a meadow area, there's no, the wetlands are pretty well preserved on this property. Even with the forestry actions that occurred over the years, they stayed out of the wetlands, which they do a lot, right? So the wetlands are largely forested, and the buffer zones to them, as we get closer to them, are largely forested. So yeah, I do feel confident that it would be, I think it's highly unlikely that there's a spot on this site where I can design and construct a replication that does not involve tree removal, and which I also think over time confidently can turn into a wetland. Just because there's a location on the plan, we still have a commitment to the commission after a few growing seasons to ensure that that turns into a wetland. And that's where you look at the topography and what is the hydrology in that location. There's a lot of factors that go into it. I don't think we'd see a meaningful reduction in tree removal to build it. And then if we're not building in that area with our development, I still have to access it. I gotta get all the equipment over there to get to it, which is more tree removal. So we try and find a location where we're doing work anyway, which meets these other criteria, with a high degree of confidence that it's gonna turn into a wetland after a couple growing seasons. So that was the thought process that went behind it. And we combined it. We initially looked at a couple locations, but that didn't seem to make sense from a constructability standpoint, from an impact perspective, and hydrology. A larger contiguous wetland is typically has a greater chance of success over time than a couple smaller ones, if that makes sense.
I do want to just go back to the infiltration basins and the desire to make, put them under the parking. one thing to consider is that we are doing a substantial amount of cut to this site. Most of the cut's gonna be kind of in the building footprint as well as the surrounding truck court. Really where the fill is taking place is in this upper parking lot. So if we did have to move these systems subsurfacely, you'd be talking about probably moving this infiltration basin somewhere into this parking lot, this basin somewhere into this parking lot, and this one over into here. Then, at least for 2 of these locations, you risk then being in rock cut, which means we probably wouldn't be able to make them infiltration basins. They may have to be detention systems. So it's a balancing act in terms of the subsurface infiltration systems. There's pockets of areas where we are able to find where we could do infiltrations. And the surface basins, I mean, really because they're on the outer portions of the site, where we're able to keep them closer to existing grade, we're able to keep them out of, rock so we can infiltrate. So you do run the risk of not being able to recharge as much on the site, putting them subsurfacely, just because of some of the challenges we're dealing with here. So I do want to point that out, that it is kind of,
The underground.
it's a balancing act.
Legend stuff, you
So
can't.
there may be some positives for putting them under, but then there could be some negatives too for putting them underneath the park.
You did hit a lot of bedrock, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because I see that in on the page where all the basins are. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of bedrock there.
On
Even where
CG.
you're putting the basins, then there's bedrock anyway? Am I understanding that right? Even where the basins are now, there's still bedrock?
No, these, because they're on the outskirts of the site and they're actually at a lower elevation, we are able to grade them in such a way that we're able to maintain the 4 feet of separation required from the seasonal high water table and the bedrock. It's just that, these areas are much higher in elevation on the site and also where we had significant rock that we're cutting. So if you try to move those further into the site, they're likely going to be in rock then. Not to say that there might be some pockets somewhere over in this area or this area, but it definitely would be a little bit of a challenge to
But
make
you
it
wouldn't know
work.
that until you really start to clear off take down the 45 feet or whatever you're taking down, or 72 feet, right?
Yeah, this area, we have other test bits that we did throughout this area.
They were up in there when we walked that, Chaz.
Yeah.
Those test areas, we did look at them further up in the back.
Yeah, so I would say, in this area, we have a decent sense of where rock is and where, groundwater is, but, this was certainly a challenge getting this system to sort of shift in the right location to kind of fit. So, yeah, there's challenges with putting it subsurface. Obviously, there's challenges to putting it as a surface basin, given the tree removal, so. I do want to just show. So we did do 2 more section views from looking from Route 3 to the back of the site, because we do also have that retaining wall on the western side as well. That retaining wall is not as tall as some of the other ones. I think the maximum height to that wall is around 24 feet. So this retaining wall that's running along here. But we cut 2 sections. So section D is looking basically from it goes through Route 3, through the existing wetlands and the parking lot to the building. So that's the one on the bottom. So you can see the dash line here. That's sort of the existing canopy as it exists. This is where we have the wetland replication area that we're showing, and then you have the retaining wall and the parking lot and the road near the proposed building. So in this bottom section, you can see that the grade does drop down for the wetland. So in terms of the line of sight, you do have the buffer that's right along Route 3 that is going to sort of block the line of vision to the proposed building. I will say that, you know, in winter and fall, you know, you are still gonna get like probably a filtered view because you do have most of this canopy that's at a lower elevation that's dropping down. It's a little bit, it's better when you're looking at this corner, so that goes through Route 3, through our infiltration basin and through the parking lot. So here, you know, you're at a higher grade. This area over here, this represents the existing trees that are to remain. So there is a substantial buffer in that corner to the west of that infiltration basin that is remaining, and it is going to provide a, you know, good screen for the proposed building. You know, really, I mean, you can see you're really not going to be able to see the building.
I have a question about the snow removal. Is it just this one area, or, I mean, all these other areas are striped. I didn't know exactly where the snow removal was.
Yeah, so on the site plan, we do have locations throughout the site for their.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
What page is that on?
100, CS 100.
Yeah, that's right on.
CS 100.
CF?
C as a cat.
Yeah, so it's CS 100.
On the sheet
Jack,
there.
Sam.
So we do have, there's like it's like a cloud hatch with like a stripe through it. So
Okay,
they
all
are
right.
kind of located
And
throughout
it's all
the
around the
site.
site.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're all on
yeah.
the site, yeah.
And then I wanted to ask, so this is an industrial building?
It's an industrial warehouse.
Warehouse.
Yeah.
Is all the parking required? Because I wouldn't think so, for an industrial building.
The parking for the code is, I think it's one space per 1.4 employees.
Okay, that's a lot of parking in the
Yeah,
back.
so we didn't really size it based on that. We sized it based on what the market and tenants demand, which is approximately 1 per 1,000 square feet of building. And in order to make sure that our project is competitive in getting the rents that we need in order to financially make it work, that's how we got to that number. So we put as much parking as we could on where we thought it would meet the market and keep as little on to make sure that, you know, we were not using space that we didn't need. We just don't want to be going out to market this to tenants and they say, well, you don't have enough parking, so we're not willing to locate it. So.
Yeah, I will say, working on warehouse projects, you know, typically they do have one space per 1,000 square foot of warehouse. You know, we're a little bit less than that. I want to say we're around 0.8.
Okay, all right, I just wondered, yeah, because it seemed like a lot of parking for,
Yeah.
I mean, we're hoping people just kind of get some cars at some point so they don't have to park anywhere, but I don't think we're quite there yet. One day.
yeah,
Michelle, we have some properties in town business,
yeah,
properties that they can't rent them because they don't have parking.
okay,
And
okay,
that's kind of, I know, they're friends of mine that own the properties, and
Yeah, okay.
it's actually hurting them.
yes, okay, I just wondered, yep,
That's totally fair question.
thank you.
In your stormwater analysis, did you include any consideration for what you labeled on the first diagram, future retail development, or is that something that's going to, hasn't been considered yet in any analysis?
No, so this small parcel, the thought is that this would be these would be subdivided, so you would have the warehouse parcel, and then you would have this smaller retail parcel as a subdivision. So in terms of our stormwater analysis, this wasn't included at all, and it's being shown strictly for planning board purposes, because they did want it shown, but we make it clear on our notes on the plan saying that it's future and it's not included as part of the analysis for the site.
Thank you.
And no trees are coming out of there, right? Until you have a plan for it?
For our plan, no. We're, I mean, for this warehouse site, the tree line would be right, you know, it's not, we have a little bit of grading that's being done just to tie into the grades that are out there, but we're not removing the trees in this spot.
Nothing's happening there.
Yeah.
And so,
So as I'm looking at this figure 4, Mike.
yeah,
Up in here, is that wet, so you couldn't put the BVW up in here, in that upper top corner? So I'm in attachment B, figure 4.
Yep, one sec.
He's in the notice.
Yeah, I also have the, Mike, I also have that figure showing the wetland boundary.
Thank you.
Oh, it's a gigantic figure. I'm sorry, I'm,
So up in this corner here, there's no spot up there for BBW then?
it's all wetland.
It's all wet,
It's
okay.
already wet.
Yeah, the green on the plan represents the wetland boundary.
And even like in between those two sections of green, there wouldn't be any spot in there that you could?
I give you my word, we looked. And I'm with you.
I'm only asking.
I know these are very good. I want you and the commission to know, we thought about these things before we filed. I've done a lot of wetland mitigation design. I want to, all these things I have to think about. I think that's a good spot. If the commission approves the project as designed and where we're doing our work, I think that's a logical spot for it that minimizes the amount of vegetation removal to construct it. I really don't think there's another meaningful location on site where we would have fewer tree removal to construct the mitigation area.
So you're taking out 3,500 feet of
EVW.
BBW?
Yeah.
And I don't know how anybody else feels about this, but would it be we could possibly give you a waiver for that and not put the BVW back in?
We could do 1.5 to 1, we could do 1. It's really the commission's preference. Yes, absolutely. We're
Just something to think about.
We are, currently our proposal is a 3-to-1 ratio. If the commission wanted fewer tree removal to construct the wetland, we could absolutely reduce that at your discretion.
Michelle?
No, I wouldn't agree, I
The
wouldn't
thing
agree to
with
that.
the only thing with that, then everybody would request it. We've gone up to, we don't want to do 1-to-1.
Okay.
Most people only want to do 1-to-1.
Yeah, we were doing 3-to-1.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're offering it right off the bat.
Where is
too.
it now on this, where is it on this plan?
It's, well,
Because you'd
I
have to bring
understand what Chaz
equipment
is
up to
saying,
do,
but-
you'd have to cut a whole tree
But if
line to
we
go up
waive
to
it, then
that
everybody's gonna want us to
spot.
waive it
Yeah,
for the future projects, you know?
Well, there's an awful lot of wetlands on this, I mean, how
There
much?
is a ton of wetlands. I've been out there a lot. There's a
but when
ton
you
of wetlands.
alter wetlands, you have to replicate them.
I understand that.
Right.
I'm just,
I hear you. It is a balancing act from a regulatory perspective. I do appreciate it.
And there's probably grading in this area anyway, because they're putting in a detention pond over there. I mean, they can't,
Even just grading in general, but even, no matter where I put it, even if we didn't have work over there, that's the other point I was making. I still have to get to it. I gotta bring all the equipment, I gotta do all the excavation, I bring all the plant material, and it's still gonna be pretty, you know. I think that's a good spot, and I think it has a high likelihood of success building it in that location. I think there's gonna be good hydrology there, and if
yep.
our priority is to have that be a wetland after 2 or 3 growing seasons, that's a good spot for it, in my opinion.
Chaz, when we walked this up, and we walked all the way up, we started in here,
yep.
correct?
Yeah.
So we came all the way up on, then we had noticed there was quite a bit of drop off,
Yeah. like a
right,
cliff.
on the way off,
Yep.
up to here. But that was all tree line, this whole thing in here, even though there was.
Yeah, I mean, I still have the map from where we walked it, so.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of tree line. I know that we kept looking at that, saying, well, we didn't want that to go. We didn't, because the Route 3 corridor is right here.
Yep.
None of that's going, this is all staying in here, so none of it's being touched, correct?
Correct.
Well, from here to here, you're not touching any of this.
That's correct. Yeah, and yes, all of, I mean, this is essentially a wetland, so we're not touching that. Obviously, there's a wetland replication area, which
Here.
we would
Right.
have to in
Right.
order to put in the replication area.
But otherwise, we meet your setback from the wetlands, the buffers.
So, the amount of tree cutting in here for this replication, and we walked all the way up this.
Yeah.
Is
But
that-
I thought you had said that you were gonna take all those trees out in order to build that.
Right, so the replication area,
For the
it's about
replication,
10,000
yeah.
square feet of forested upland right now. That would
So
be converted
from the edge of the parking lot area or driveway, all the way down, you would be able to see the wetland.
Clarify, I
because you-
understand the question. Let me clarify. When I was talking about the tree removal to construct it, it's this area here. I gotta bring equipment down to get to it,
Yep.
obviously. So, but we're doing the earthwork here anyway. We come in through that build the wetland, and work our way back out.
So between the wetlands and the driveway, would that be cleared?
Yes, to get to it. So this stretch right here.
Just to get to it?
Just that little spot.
Yeah.
Just that little spot right there.
That's right.
To get to it.
I know, we had looked at that.
I thought the whole thing was gonna be cleared through there and then.
Yeah.
and then-
No. We just want to get in, define corridor, and we're going to restore that when we come out. We're going to replant the buffer zone that we temporarily altered to get to the replication area. So that will be as part of our mitigation package.
Okay.
That was a big thing that he kept looking at when we were walking in. The big building, and there was, but we really had nobody else come in to do this. I think it's a good point. No, it's, everything that comes out goes that way, right to Route 3.
No questions?
Which is perfect.
Where's the, so on that side, where's the parking drainage going? Into, and I can probably go to that page, but,
Yeah, so the western parking lot drainage here goes to
okay.
this subsurface, or this surface infiltration.
And how high, the wetland's down, right? Because this is a retaining wall here?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's down.
Yeah.
Is that drainage basin at the same level?
No.
Not really,
So
it's higher, right?
I mean, the wetlands, for example, the grade changes across here and it drops as you go north.
Yes.
But the infiltration basin's at 196.5. The edge of the wetland starts around maybe like 170 something.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I don't,
Anybody else have any questions?
I'm fine with, I've seen,
So, we have to continue this
We
anyway,
have to
right?
continue it anyway, so, I mean,
Yeah.
if you can think about a few more things for next meeting too. But we have to continue it anyways till we hear back from
And,
A&M.
so we want to go 26th, or I think that's too short?
Oh, I think the 26th will work.
Any more questions for us before we continue?
yeah, if,
Anybody have any more
no,
questions?
No, not at all.
Yep, we're all set?
Sure, yeah, I mean,
Can I get a
you
motion
guys
to
know where I'm
continue?
coming from. so.
Yeah, I'm all set with what's going on.
Make a motion to continue to July 26th.
26. And the second on that?
All in favor?
A&M report back.
Thank you, folks. Have a good night. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You going to planning board soon, or?
21st.
I mean,
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So the next one on the article, 263 Pawtucket Boulevard, DEP number 309-0949, map 34, parcel 18, Joe Lee, applicant for request for modification of existing order of conditions following the issuance of an enforcement order continued from June 14, 2022.
Do you have, no plans or anything?
Yeah. It's there. It's in your packet there.
In that pile, I think.
I've got police stuff. Oh, under this, okay, it's high.
yeah, it's this little one, Eddie.
This a new plan here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Street. I'm confused. This new plan right here.
This one is the new plan.
The last one.
All right, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to deny 263 Pawtucket Boulevard and make a motion to move right to DEP, because they don't want to, it doesn't seem like they're doing anything we're asking. I don't want to waste my time anymore.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just a point of order. I know there were public here that wanted to speak, so I don't know. I know you've already voted, but
No, didn't we close the public part of it
Yeah,
last time?
like 4 meetings ago, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
I thought we already closed the public part of it.
we did. And
I'd have to look back in the notes. I don't remember.
I thought we did.
I'm pretty sure we already closed the public part of the
Okay.
hearing.
just wanted to, I know there was one person here wanted to speak, and I,
All right.
Check the notes if you want to wait.
Yeah, we can check the
Hold on,
notes.
check the notes, yep.
Yep.
That'll be closed like 3 meetings ago. I could,
Far back do we go? Remember when the last time? Okay. Motion to open the public. Motion to continue to May 10th.
I didn't even look at the third page.
Request to continue to May 24th.
Sorry. I was gonna.
Motion to continue to the 14th. Motion to continue to the 28th.
maybe we didn't, it was the 28th.
And it's still open.
Okay. And then we're still open, if you have somebody who wants to speak, we'll let them
I know
speak.
there's one abutter who wants to speak.
Okay. Say your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Stanley Castanis. I live at 261 Pawtucket Boulevard, which is the west side adjacent to Mr. Lee's property at 263. I've been there for 45 years. I watched the river go from a Class C, I believe at the time, to a Class A, and hopefully we've been supporting that. I'm here to support the property. I know you've kind of all voted. Not kind of, you already voted. And it's, I feel that the opportunity to continue with the occupancy permit that he got in the first place. I'm not being compensated to come here at all. Mr. Lee has been a good neighbor, and I've seen this property. And the property had a whole bunch of trees, bushes, grass, everything else. It's still flooded, and it poured into our property. Now, with the drainage system that's in there now, that's not happening. And you could see that it's not even doing the overflow into the river, which keeps it from eroding the embankment. The soil conditions there, and you may know, but it's worth repeating, they're a substrate of sand, loam, and clay. So what happens is it gets saturated pretty quick. And right now, where there's no storm drains along the highway, at least my property has always been getting flooded from that. We seem to be the catch basin for all of 113. And it'd be great if somehow you could knock on the state's door to maybe, or is it something I have to do for that? But what's stopped right now is with the drainage system that's been put in there, there's no additional water coming in. And I'm still getting pooling, but that's more the highway than everything else. And I could see it's not running into the river. Since they put in that drainage system, I've seen it work firsthand. I'm a professional engineer, I'm a CSL. I can recognize when something is a joke and when something is actually working. And I believe that this system should stay in place. Nature's a wonderful thing, and it can do a lot of things, but unfortunately, it can't do this on that small piece of property. No, my property takes care of a lot of things that are on that route. I would like to see if you folks can reconsider that, to keep that drainage system in there and the pavement that redirects it all to the drainage system, the rock drainage system that's there. I think it's worthwhile.
That's not changing, no matter what,
Right.
if the lawn's put in or not.
Right, but the
that's not changing.
pavement helps direct it and distribute into that area. I'm afraid if you ask for that to be removed, it's going to create a problem. Or can you explain to me why, how it would benefit removing, and if you take out all that pavement, you've got hazardous material that you have to get rid of somehow. So maybe you could explain to me as a resident how this doesn't work for the benefit of both the river, the embankment, as well as our property here.
Because if he would went by the original plans,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have all that hazardous material to have to be taken out.
Sure.
The original plans had infiltration systems that would have worked on the same thing that you're having now. You wouldn't have had any kinds of flow issues if he would have done it by the original plans that he designed. But he decided to do hot top on the whole thing and just bypass the plans that we gave him that were done by engineers. So, let me finish.
Yeah, sure.
So you're saying, oh, now he's going to remove this hazardous material. The hazardous material shouldn't have been there in the first place anyway. So, but that's, bygone. It just, he didn't go by the plan submitted. And you can't just give us a set of plans and then do whatever you want.
No, and I understand that.
That's just the rules. That's the rules.
So when it got initially approved, and the Conservation Commission certainly was involved, and I don't think you were in place at the time, right?
I was not.
Yeah.
I went there when he wanted to put in his dock. We did a site visit when
Sure.
he wanted to do his dock.
Okay. So I don't know who was there then that thought was, sorry?
Danielle was.
Okay. Did he think that was,
She.
oh, she,
So,
sorry, Danielle?
Originally, the same drainage was put there, it was supposed to be grass, the parking lot, the driveway is different, the house is bigger, house is 900 square foot bigger than the original plan we seen.
Chairman, if I could, Ben Osgood, Ranger Engineering Group, and I was going to start my presentation with...
He's just asking what the difference is.
I know, but I
So
just...
I'm just explaining what the difference
Right.
was.
I was just going to say, the square footage of the house as approved on the plans I submitted previously was not correct. And I went back because I couldn't figure out where a 900-foot discrepancy came in. The plans were revised several times during the original proposal. Joe was working with an architect. So the original approved house was 3,650 square feet. Now, I know I've been here saying it was 3,010, but when I went to look at it, you know, I actually scaled it out off of the approved plan. And I had just, it was an error in the plan. We never updated that to the final approved plan. So it is a hair bigger, it's 3,833, but it's a little less than 200 square feet, and that was just a mudroom that he added behind the garage. So I just wanted to, you know, it's my fault. It's not an 800 square foot, 900
That's why
square
we're
foot.
also signing plans from now on when they come in front of us.
It was on the approved plan, it was mistakenly put, but the dimensions are all the same for the most part, except for that little addition. So I just wanted to mention that to the commission. You know, we did add, we did, on this plan, took out more pavement. The total impervious is 9,636.
But when we were here last time, we explained how we would like it. You didn't do that, and you didn't do anything close. Because you said, like you said, he really doesn't want to do that, which is fine.
Right, that's fine, but the drainage system was
So,
designed.
We agree to disagree. We
Right.
just agree to disagree. So it
Drainage
doesn't seem
system-
like, are you gonna do it the way everybody on this board wants? No. So we go to DEP. So make a motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
I'll second that. This, we're going back and forth. Second. Aye.
Motion to deny and move to DEP?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're not gonna get nowhere. This is why you guys.
We're gonna just go back and forth. You know what I mean? We want this, you don't wanna do it.
Yeah.
No, we're not gonna argue anymore, because we've been to 6, 7 meetings. So we'll just let DEP handle it. Let whatever they decide, they can decide.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give me the opportunity, appreciate it.
No.
Next item on the agenda, 12 Bridget Ave. Nothing, right?
Nothing, hasn't done anything, nothing.
Approval of minutes, June.
Would you like to make a motion to approve the minutes of June 28, 2022?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any correspondence?
None.
New business, the only new business we have is if we want to reorganize.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to keep Ed Derby as chairman and Chaz as vice chair if they both will continue to stay on.
I'll second that. I think we'll all second that.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good.
I'm happy with Ed being, I'd just as soon as share the vice chair position if.
Just unless anybody else wants it.
You can have it.
I'm good.
Chaz, we love you.
Exactly. We got a motion?
We have a motion?
I second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
That was easy and fast.
Yes, thank you, Ed. Old business?
We have to do the minutes, and then I want you to close the meeting so we can talk about Davis Street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Any old business?
We're all old.
I know.
Jeez.
Speak for yourself.
I'll catch it up, though.
Yes, right.
I will not be here
Linda?
August 9th. I'll be on vacation that week.
You got the life, man.
Good for you.
Where are you going?
Enjoy yourself.
August 9th. He's going on
Granddaughter's
holiday.
coming in from
You
Iowa.
can make a motion to adjourn?
Hold on, we're gonna talk about something?
No, at the end. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Can we do the minutes?
You already did that. That was like a half hour ago.
Okay.
Okay, so, Linda?
Second, all in favor?
I said second.
All right. Meeting adjourned.
Good night.
Kill the mic. So.